Hello and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles. On today's show, my guest and I will be debating, analysing, and reviewing yesterday's hard fought victory over Leicester City at the King Power Stadium. So sit back and enjoy the show. On today's show, I'm joined by regular Gooner guest, Eamonn Donnelly. How are you, pal? First of all, fresh from Killarney after Dublin beating the Kingdom.
Evening, Jonathan. Evening, Tom. There's a baby there. I just want to say, drugs are never the answer. Unless the clue is narcotics, 5 letters. No, I'm all right. And it was actually Tralee I was in. For the Dublin match, which was nothing short of hilarious. But there you
go. A win is a win, Eamonn. And the Dubs are on the road for.
Well, look, when the opposition is that which ruined one's childhood, I take it every time. Kerry and Liverpool ruined my childhood, so yeah.
And he's looking the better of it, I have to say. So he's looking fresh face as always. Eamonn, great to have you on, pal. And a good win for the Dubs. I'm also joined by Leicester City fan Thomas Gray, who was with us on Valentine's night, of course. And he's back with us again this evening. Tom, how are you, pal? And thanks for coming on again.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, quiet weekend myself, so I wasn't gallivanting off to any Dublin games now. So just me and the TV.
Tom was a good boy watching his beloved Foxes.
Breaking me heart continuously. But
that's the love of football, Tom. You have to take the good times, the bad times. Sadly, there's too many bad times as a good gooner, but no, it's great to have you on. And as I said on Friday, a big shout out to your mum, Yvonne Gray, another avid Leicester City fan. So hello, Yvonne, again, and thanks for having your son on. Again, a real pleasure to have you on again, Tom.
Yeah, no, we'll have to try and get me mother on for the next
next
season.
Yeah, we definitely have to do a duo, you and your mum. That'd be some show.
Yeah,
that'd
be great. Get her off.
Yeah, that would actually be a nice touch, actually, Tom. Yeah, that's definitely something. Hopefully, Leicester will survive the drop, and we'll have that. Tom is our good luck charm in this show. As always, a big shout out to Derek, who edits this show for us, and Martin Stumble. As always, Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel and Spotify is where you can catch our show. Of course, straight into our match review as always from yesterday at the King Power Stadium, 2-0 to the Arsenal. We've a new number 9, Miguel Marino on the double for us. I know Eamonn's the grin on Eamon's face there. If you watched our review show, Mikel Arteta must have been listening. He got a spot on.
Right.
if everyone just listened to us, everything will be over. And I was listening back to it actually on a walk yesterday, and everything Eamonn said was yet again spot on the money. That's why he's on the show. Only the best survive. It's like, oh, Mr. Brennan.
I got lucky, guys. I got lucky. Okay.
Eamonn hates being put on the spot there. Yeah. Only when he gets into his match analysis we see the real. Done. Before we kick on, Tom, just briefly, myself and Eamonn played in the Emirates 5-side tournament. We went on all the way to win it, didn't we?
I think I'm pretty sure Ando made it over one season with Emilius. I remember him talking about the out 5-a-side over there before.
Yeah, he was mesmerised by the skills we had, and it wasn't on the pitch. Plenty of nice 1-2s at the bar, though, I have to say.
In the bar, yeah, I was about to say that.
We hit top form there. Sadly, we couldn't replicate it on the Emirates tour, but there you go. Into the match review. First half, we started off with, and it was a fairly tight I think, suppose, with no recognised number 9 and our first game back from really the mini reset we had, I think in the first half we found it tough to get going. Our pressing wasn't really out until we got into the second half. But Leicester done pretty okay, I think, in the first half, if not kind of overall. They were stubborn to break down, I thought, all game. In the first half of note, indeed he had a good volley from the edge of the box, which was well saved by Ryan. Christensen had a cross, just had a wide by Indeedy as well near the end of the first half. It was a wicked cross, and really of note for ourselves, it was quite enough on the goal side chances for us in the first half. I thought by far man of the match for ourselves, Eamonn and Wordy was amazing on Saturday. He gave Leicester's fullback Christensen a torrid time, 1-on-1.
Yeah, he's a really good player, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a real talent for ourselves. We're really lucky to have him along with Lewis Skelly, so young as well. Of note, now where he had a good strike that your goalkeeper Hermanson tipped onto the post. He was 1-on-1 with Christensen, skinned him, and he was very lucky not to score that one. I thought the defining moment though was when Ayu's ball went across the box, and it was torn behind by Miles Skelly in the second half with Bobby Cordova-Reid just lurching at the back post. If that had gone in, it could have been a different game at 1-0 Leicester, but I thought that was a big turning point in the match and in the second half. I thought again, it was our super sub, Eamonn Marino, that really changed the game, of course, with his 2 goals. He came on for Raheem Sterling. Sterling done nothing, I don't think, in the match at all. And, it's every time I see Sterling, why the hell did we bring him on loan, but there you go, look. His first goal, Marino's, was a great cross from Aiden and Wordy, and it's a superb header from Marino. Old Alan Smith back in the day would have been proud of that one for the Arsenal. Great header, and Hermanson, in fairness, had no chance of saving it. It was just one of those headers where he buried it. And then the second goal, it was a great break from midfield from Riccardo Calafiori to break free out to Trossard on the left-hand side, and his cross evaded everyone except for Marino, who buried it with a nice left-footed finish. So for now, as Eamonn Marino's in his post-match and BBC Match Today, he says he'll go anywhere, including in goal, but he might be getting ahead of himself. I don't think that has any. He's no worries there for the moment, but he got a bit ahead of himself, and he says he done that. He wants to dedicate those 2 goals to his wife because he forgot to get her a present on Valentine's Day. So I'm sure that went down pretty well for herself. But 2-0 to the Arsenal. It was I thought, on and on, it was a hard fought 2-0. And I think I think we edged it, but really pleasing just to get 2 goals and a win, particularly with no recognised striker as such. I don't want to come to yourself, Tom. What was your analysis from a Leicester City side point of view?
Yeah, I think we did really well defensively. Great unit. I think Indeedy I think I mentioned it before the game, that Indeedy coming back for us is a big plus. Yeah. Gets himself about. He might get the odd foul or here or there, but he gets himself about and he breaks things down. He plays like a proper defensive midfielder. And I was surprised he did actually get a bit forward as well against us, which we probably needed as well, because I think Samari gets lost in games quite a lot. Like, I find that we need, if we want to win games, we need an Indeedy and then a kind of attacking midfielder as well. I like Declan Rice. Somebody who's going to go box to box. But indeed, he did try and do that. But I just thought Samari got lost in the game. And I think that's where we're losing a lot out on, where our centre midfielders are struggling, where we can't hold on to the ball. But defensively wise, we did keep a good unit. But that, you're right back nowhere near. He was terrorising Christian down the right hand side there. So we'd like a player like him on our side. But,
sorry, Tom, for cutting across you. Do you think Christensen was the right player to be 1-on-1 with Eaton and Wordy, do you think?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised he was starting. He hasn't started many games for us this season. So I was surprised that he was there, given the pace as well that Newry had. But I think because we did sit back, he didn't have the chance to get in behind us as much as he probably would have wanted to. So tactically, probably Van Nistelrooy did get it kind of right with Christian, because he is kind of he's not got any pace, but he was tactically there at the right time, and he did nick a few balls off Newry, and he didn't let him get in behind too much. So maybe he did pick, maybe it was the right pick. But if you'd have said it before the game, you would have probably liked somebody with a bit more pace up against the likes of him. But it worked out quite well. It's just a shame we couldn't hold that out for the 90 minutes. But your substitutions did change the game, and I think there was no life. There was no life. It was if you were a neutral watching that game yesterday, you would have fallen asleep. Well after 60 minutes, wouldn't you? Like there was nothing. Yeah. I don't even kind of recall too many shots on target at all. So if you were a neutral watching the game, you wouldn't have been too excited or taking much from the game. But yeah, your substitutions came on and added that life that probably the game needed and turned it around for you. So
do you think the chance that Bobby could ever read at the back post, the interception from Miles Lewis-Kelly, do you think if that had gone in for yourselves, do you think that could have changed the complexion of the game? Do you think it was at that moment of the game, it was,
it's hard. It's hard to say because you weren't dominating in terms of creating chances, but you did have you got a lot of the ball, and I just think you were just missing that spark. Like you said it yourself, Sterling, he's passed the sell-by date for me as well. He didn't get too many games for Chelsea either. I know, I was surprised by the signing of him as well, and he just doesn't have the spark anymore that you need. Trossard didn't really show up too much either. Couldn't get in the game. He didn't know whether to be on the wing. He didn't know whether to be up front. I think that initially it was that he was playing as a striker, but you couldn't really see that, And it's just we obviously took from the game that you just didn't have a strike force, and we knew that. So I think the centre backs looked kind of comfortable because they knew as well that you didn't have a recognised centre back. So I think the centre backs felt very comfortable up against the likes of Trossard there, who didn't even know where he was going at a certain time. So whether that would have if we had scored that, I just think it would have sped up your substitutions a bit more. Yeah. And I think you would have looked to change the game a bit earlier than you did had you have been 1-0 down, and then you probably would have came back and beat us anyway. But it would have definitely made the game interesting. I think that Godivaried was actually celebrating before Lewis-Kelly had actually got his foot on it. If you look at it, the head is in his hands, He's already celebrated before it's gone in. But who knows? It would have made it it was a good enough game anyway. But it would have made it very interesting had it have gone in all right, yeah. But we didn't create enough for us to say I don't think we would have won the game still.
Were you surprised, Tom, how quiet kind of Jamie Vardy was? He didn't really get a chance to go in behind the defence, did he, all game? It was one of his quieter games against us. He wasn't as, his intimidating kind of self. Were you surprised?
Yeah, but I think that's the way we set up as well. It's because the likes of AU doesn't have pace, and Deco de Veriva doesn't have pace either. I felt Vardy was very isolated, and your defence is very good as well. Like you didn't really let him get in behind at all. We did try and play a few balls down the channels over behind, but defensively, you have the best defensive record in the league for a reason, and you could see that. This really did keep Vardy at bay, which just haven't been able to do many of years now, but. He didn't really get in the game too much, but he still had a bit of a nuisance to him. He still played up a bit gave Gabriel a few things to think about a few times, but he was. I love Jamie Vardy, but if we want to go any further, I think next year we do need to make. If we stay in the league, we need to make a good signing as a striker. Daka. He's came on a few times, but he hasn't been able to do it for us either. So I was hoping better from Daka, but yeah, it's been all Vardy. I think he's done his part, but next season, if we do stay up, we will need to look for a good striker.
Yeah, well said, Tom. Yeah. A good 2-0 victory, Eamon. If you might on the bench there a bit, to the Arsenal. What was your breakdown of the Arsenal result from yesterday, Eamon?
Well, just to cover what I said on the review. No, I'm not. Sometimes you get these things right, and sometimes you don't.
I like the way he has to glow.
I got this one right. If everybody listened to me, Jonathan, everything would be okay. The reason being, I couldn't see any other player that was going to land himself in the box the way, say, Havertz would. Marino, I just couldn't see it, right? Now, the bit I got wrong was we didn't start with that. But in hindsight, it seems to me that Arteta had a bit of a strategy. Now, I'm just going to explain to people. I'm boggy-eyed from watching football because I didn't see the game as it happened. I was on my way down to Tralee to the Dublin Kerry game. And so I had it on BBC Radio 5 Live, you know. It's 5 o'clock and welcome to Sports Report. You know, all that type of thing. But radio is great for giving you information, you know, because they know you can't see the picture. So it's much more analytical than television. So I kind of had a feel for what type of game it was. I got home today just in time to watch Bohemians. Yay! Yeah, brilliant. And then
great advertisement for Irish. Yeah.
Then I watched that comedy show over in Seven Sisters. What you call it, Tottenham and Man United, and then I watched that, and then I watched the game yesterday. You know, because I'm so committed to this show. And Tom is right. Like, I mean, the first half was soporific. But I think Arteta approached it in that way. In that, look, we don't have a striker. We haven't had any chance to work on anything. Havertz got done on the last day of the trip to Dubai. You know, Mikel Marino said that he was only told that morning, listen, pal, jog on. You're going on up front. You know, so I think what Arteta tried to do was try and Tom is right. You know, we didn't. I wouldn't say dominate the game, but we controlled the game for most parts without doing really anything. And it's a bit like that elastic band. If you continue to control the game, eventually the elastic band loosens. It's inevitable that as players get tired and something's going to happen. And I think Arteta made a decision that, look, we haven't had time to work on this, but if we're still 0-0 with 15, 20 minutes to go, Marino's gone on as a centre forward. You know, and it looked to me that that's the way it happened. But I thought, I mean, Leicester are they're better than their 17 points tells you. You know, I know points are hard won by in the Premier League, but you know they were well set up. They gave it a go, but I thought our midfield. A fella asked me on Friday night, a friend of mine who comes to the games, David McQuaid, said, do you think we can win this game tomorrow without a striker? And I said, I think our midfield is good enough to win it. And ultimately, I think that's what happened, that we had enough control of the ball to stretch Leicester enough. The first 25 minutes, having looked back at it, was shocking. We were constantly giving the ball away. It was Ken Barlow stuff. So frustrating.
I was surprised by the amount of offsides. There was some serious amount of offsides in the first half as well. I was never seeing so many offsides in a first half of a foot game.
Oh, shut it, Barlow! I'm speaking, Barlow. No, but it was, and Sterling was cut off. So, look, just on the Sterling thing, I agree with Tom. I just think Sterling has lost his burst, right? I don't particularly think it was a bad gamble on the base, though. It was the last day of the transfer window. We had seriously tried to get Nico Williams, couldn't get him. Might go back in for him. We needed a wide player. He was available, and we're only paying 1/3 of his wages. So it's a gamble that hasn't paid off, but it was a low risk gamble. You know, we wouldn't be having this conversation if Bukayo Saka hadn't
Yeah.
taught something.
Mm.
You
Yes,
know,
sir. Would have had a lot-
but look, I just want to say about the team. Sorry, on the Miles Lewis Skelly clearance, I actually disagree with Tom. I think if Leicester had scored there, it was game over.
Yeah, I thought that was a pivotal moment, wasn't it?
Well, game over. Well, I think that would have been the Arsenal team this year has had a number of semi-fatal blows delivered to it, and I think that would have been one last bullet in the head. But in fairness to Miles Lewis Skelly, it's not so much the clearance that he made. He got himself into a great position.
Mm.
Like
Instinct.
a lazier defender wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
He got himself into a great position and he bust his ass to do that, you know? And that tells me something about this Arsenal team. There's 101 reasons why we could have packed it in this season. 101 reasons, right? And Havertz getting a torn hamstring out in Dubai could have been the last of them. Say, Jesus, what is going on here? But the team hasn't packed it in. The manager hasn't packed it in. We're chopping and changing, but the spirit is still there, you know. And that's what I liked about yesterday. Like we're 10 wins and 2 draws out of the last 12 Premier League games, lads. You know, people say we're in poor form. What? Jesus, I take poor form all day. Like the damage was done to our season with all that nonsense that went on, and all the draws that we got through.
And the red cards as well, Eamonn.
We don't get penalties every week. I mean, Liverpool are carrying forward 2 into the game against Villa, apparently on Wednesday night. We don't get penalties every week for fellas diving, nor do we avoid, like Liverpool seem to every single game, second yellow cards not becoming red cards. The team could just pack it in at this stage, but they didn't. And I was delighted. I think Calafiori made a difference as well, in that when the game was a bit stretched, he drove forward, you know. But I think Tom's analysis is right. I think Trossard, he's not going to be able to play there, you know. So we're going to have to do different things at different times, and you can't just say, "Oh, well, we found Marino now, we can stick him up front." You can't do that, right? Teams will start reading that. We're going to have to mix and match, and you know, keep the opposition guessing. And it mightn't be a pretty watch, but we don't have the resources that we had on Ethan Monieri. Let me tell you something, and I'm not one now. His attitude needs to be right if he's going to make it. So far, what I hear about him is his attitude is spot on, and if that stays with him, this fella is ahead of where Saka was at 17.
What happens when Saka comes back? Do you play him on the left?
When Yerdy is actually limited by playing, and I think ultimately Tom he'll play down the centre. You know,
he's got the pace, isn't he, Eamonn? Isn't he? Yeah.
Not only got well, you want to hear Jeremy Eliade here on Arsenal.com. I'll take him as a centre forward all day long. Get her into the blatant box, mate.
I think he's a little bit off a centre forward now.
Would you agree, Eamonn? He was by far man of the match yesterday, Eden, and where he
was sure he lit the place up, you know.
Yeah, he magical, wasn't he?
And like again, when you ask, like, you know, was Christensen the right player to put on him? Who is the right player? Yeah. This fella's bursting with talent. I'll tell you what spoke to me the most was the one he hit the post with.
This strike,
dipped, and he hit it with his right foot. Yeah. Like if you're a fullback, you're thinking this guy's going to push it onto his left. He's going to push it onto. Then he goes by on the other side and hits a thunderbolt. You know,
some strike, wasn't it? What did you make of aside from Marino's impact, Eamonn, the header and the left-footed finish at the back post? Were you impressed by his instinct, his striker's instinct, and those two?
You see, one of the reasons why I said what I said on Friday, Jonathan, was that I think he is a good finisher. You know, I was behind the goal when he scored against Liverpool from that set piece, and he looked to me like it was like a kind of a centre forward's finish. You know,
Yeah, he took it. Yeah,
He's not gonna be a centre forward. So let's not all get carried away, But he certainly has. He's certainly a good header of the ball and good striker of the ball, and his arrival time is what I like.
yeah,
Uh,
right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Trossard looked more himself back on the wing, Eamon, didn't he? You could see that from the assists as well. Like, yeah. Do you think Arteta will? Well, do you think he pairs the fair with him down the middle, or do you think, as you said, will he try different things out just
I
over the
think he's
next
gonna.
week?
I think now that we have a small bit of we're not playing 5 games in 15 days.
Yeah,
I think every single game will tailor up a plan to deal with differently in every game.
yeah. I think as well. Not
Declan
playing.
Rice up front next.
Yeah, we know. Like we've seen, to be honest with you, the disallowed goal that Marino had against Villa that hit off Havertz.
Yeah.
He's got a thunderbolt of a strike on him.
He has a decent strike. But
Yeah.
The other thing is, Jonathan, if we could get Bukayo Saka back, 9th, 10th of March or thereabouts, really what you're looking to do is cover 3 league games. And we have a week between each of them.
Yeah, you've 7 days to rest up, kind of, and prepare. Yeah, because I think now making the Champions League playoffs this month, Eamon, when you see our injuries, especially to Havertz, it's kind of a godsend, isn't it? There's
a free weekend. There's a free weekend with the FA Cup as well, Jonathan.
Yes, right. Yes. I felt as well, Tom, going back to yourself of the Leicester Arsenal match, James Justin going off at half time. That was a big loss to you, wasn't it? I thought Koulibaly doesn't have that same, he doesn't have those traits that Justin had. It looked like kind of a nasty tackle as well, wasn't it? That he went off. Looked like his ankle, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's had problems with his ankles. He's had a problem with his ankles for quite a while.
Yeah.
I think it was like a little tackle he went in on. I can't remember who it was. A Trossard, it might have been.
I think it might have been Timber. I think
Timber, that's it. Yeah. And he picked it up, and then down the wing, then he tried to do a little flick, and then he came back down on his ankle again, and then
it looked nasty.
It looked like I thought he was going off it the first time, but he gave him. I think the physio gave him a couple of pills, painkillers or whatever.
The old magic sponge.
They weren't Panadol Extra anyway because they didn't work very quickly for him.
We can't have to say Arsenal kept the likes of the player that with me and Eamon mentioned. I'm very impressed with him this season for yourselves, Tom. El Canoes, he was kept quiet enough during the game, wasn't he? Looked a bit frustrated, doesn't get his way as well.
Yeah, I think he picked up a yellow as well. He was getting a bit frustrated because he wasn't getting in the game as much as he would have liked. I think a lot of the stuff that we were getting wasn't coming to him through the channels, and that's why we're seeing not much of Jamie Vardy as well, because him and Jamie Vardy have linked up very well. So maybe it's something that your defence had probably looked at as well, and you just took the two of them out of the game very well. But if they link up, then we are being quite dangerous with them two boys, giving goals around the edge of the box.
Yeah. There was a few nice meaty tackles in that game as well. It was like an old school. Miles Lewis-Skelly and Urian Timber made a few tackles in it as well, didn't they? There's a few old school tackles going in there, which made a bit of a fixture of it as well.
Yeah, it's the only thing. It's what it needed really in the first half.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
The referee blew his whistle quite a lot, and then, like I said, with the offsides, I think when a game has stop starts a lot like that, it's hard for players to get a good flow in the game as well. So I think that did probably cause the game to be very slow in the first half. But I think the referee could have handled it a bit better and let the game flow a bit more, and maybe would have probably seen a better game in the first half. Maybe, and we might have seen a bit more attack and flow from ourselves as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
one of the things that struck me, lads, was if you take into consideration Jesus, Havertz, Saka, and Martinelli all missing, so that's our strike force pretty much. But apart from that, if you want an idea of the strength of our squad, if you look at our bench, it was really, really strong. Apart from in the attacking area, like Marino, Zinchenko, Kieran Tierney.
Sorry, Eamon, for cutting across you.
Ben White, very strong,
Do you think that young lad, I know it's probably, he's still fairly young, Butler Odegaye, do you think do you think it would have been worth maybe giving him 5-10 minutes yesterday?
No.
You know, no, you don't think that's the right time.
He's not ready. He's nowhere near at the level. You know, people think because Miles Lewis-Skelly and Eamonn Yearly, you know, he's nowhere. He's not. No, I hope he reaches that level, but he's nowhere near ready.
Not this season.
No.
No.
I don't think.
How impressed are you, Eamon? I know we've talked about, we've been really raving about him the last few weeks on the show. Miles Lewis-Skelly, he's not afraid to put his foot into a tackle. He's growing in confidence, isn't he? Every game now, you know, he's got a bit about him, hasn't he?
There's a lot about him. The thing I admire most about him is that he's fearless on the ball.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
You know, he gets out of trouble. He takes risks because he backs himself. You know.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of Ashley Cole. You know.
Yeah, that's a big comparison, isn't it? To make, you know, the quality that Ashley Cole had at that age. Yeah. It's nine defeats in their last 10 Premier League matches, Tom. Under Ruud van Nistelrooy. 18 games without clean sheets since a 1-1 win against Bournemouth back in October. And with Wolves are down the bottom there, I think you're just above them in the table. But above Wolves are West Ham with 27 points. There's a gap now beginning to grow, 10 points now. You can't really afford to start losing many more games now. Would you agree, Tom? It's kind of getting a worrying situation now.
Yeah, it's getting a struggle. Like the game against Wolves, like I think you mentioned it before, that was a big game for us because you need to be picking the points up around the teams.
Yeah.
And they're at the bottom, and if you're not doing that, it's hard enough picking the points above the lads like yourselves. So yeah, it is getting a bit worrying now.
The West Ham fixture, Tom, the 25th of this month, at the end of this month, that's becoming a massive game now, isn't it? Because
it is.
Since Potter took over West Ham, they're not on the best run of form either in their last 10. That's a crucial 6. You could say a relegation 6-pointer, couldn't you?
It is, yeah. That'll be where they're the kinds of games that we need to be looking at now and saying who's not performing. Can we get points against these boys? Yeah. And if we can get the odd draw against some of the big lads, then it'll do us some good stead. But it's definitely between us and Wolves now, I think.
Yeah, I'm just looking at yeah.
I was a bit worried when they did get to 1 back and made it 2-1, and they actually dominated Liverpool in their second half.
They done really
and
well.
They've got to take a lot from that performance, which is worrying as well for us because that second half, that Kuna lad, he's a serious player for them. Yeah. We just don't have a player like that.
Yeah.
So it is worrying seeing them actually still performing well against the big boys. So
Tom, the biggest laugh I got on yesterday was the car radio on the signal on 5 Live went a bit gaga for a bit. So I just hit the search button and it came onto Sports Talk. They were doing the commentary as well. And they were saying that apparently Martin Keown, Ruud van Nistelrooy hasn't seen Martin Keown since the 2003.
Oh, yeah.
When Martin jumped all over him. And and then the commentary went on to say, Martin has apologized to him over that, you know. And the
sorry for them shenanigans, he said.
And the co-commentator says, Martin's apologized to him. Is Martin all right? Is Martin all right?
I was shocked yesterday when he stuck his hand over a handshake. What is this man doing? He's really mellowed in his time because he says Van Nistelrooy was a fucker for standing on his feet every time he played him.
I've seen a couple of games and he's usually very quiet, Van Nistelrooy. Yeah. But I think he was a bit up. He was up for the game on the sideline yesterday. You could see him getting a bit.
He was getting edgy, wasn't he? He still has that pass, hasn't he? You could see the player coming out in him as well. Yeah.
Yeah, which is good to see as well. You need a manager like that. You know, you need a manager that's fucking.
And the fans feed off that energy as well, Tom, don't they?
They do, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. With Liverpool, Eamon, as you said, playing Aston Villa midweek, the gap currently is at 7 points. Could turn to 10. Do you still feel, you know, Bo Gooners, of course, here, but do you still feel Arsenal are still in the mix?
Look, I said it. Of course, we're in the mix because the team hasn't packed it in.
Yeah.
But I failed to see with a completely absent strike force how we're going to have enough firepower to get the points to overturn them. But that being said, Liverpool look leggy at the moment to me.
They looked tired today, didn't they?
I don't want to tempt fate. They've two away games coming up. They've Villa away and Man City away the next two games. So let's stop obsessing about Liverpool and the gap. Keep doing what we're doing. The one thing I'll take from my big takeaway from yesterday is, despite all of the adversity that the Arsenal faced this season, our team hasn't packed it in. And in fact, you mentioned Willie Saliba, Willow as they call him, right? Actually said Willow actually said to the gaffer, "I'll play up front."
Yeah,
that's what you're dealing with here, you know.
Yeah, they're putting. Yeah, they're. You could see with that Dubai, you know, the trip to Dubai now. They're still together, you know, and the Odegaard working his magic yesterday as well. You know, they won't give in. You know, that's for sure, Eamonn. Yeah,
they're all season, but they just.
Like with no strike force yesterday, I thought Eaton where he really did. He stepped up to the plate. You know, he's magical yesterday. You know,
yeah, he did, but he's 17, Jonathan. And
yeah, there's we don't want to put pressure on him, Eamonn.
Absolutely,
but yeah,
absolutely. You know,
yeah, he's you know, it's just great to see, you know, a young talent.
Now he looks more a man than.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
like
Skelly do, don't they? They look more than
He looks more than a Leavenstar student in my book, you know.
He definitely make my Emirates 5-a-side at the end of the season. Him and Big Dennis.
Yeah, he's got a chance.
He's got a chance. Yeah. And the chance is good enough for me. I don't know what we have, but he's got a chance at it. Your man of the match from your side of things, Tom, for Leicester City yesterday. Who stood out for you?
Indeed, he played very well.
Yeah.
He did. He was. Yeah, but it's great first half he had. Yeah.
He did indeed.
He didn't.
Once we can get at least 75 minutes out of him, we'll be. Hopefully doing all right.
Yeah, you really kind of miss that N'Golo Kante player, don't you? Just running box to box type of player, don't you? Yeah. I think Tielemans was a big loss to us as well in that midfield, sadly, when he was sold. Yeah. Your man of the match, Eamonn, for ourselves.
There's no discussion of it. It's Ethan 1 year.
Yeah, it's you'd nearly give it to Marino for his 2 goals, but overall in the match, and where he was just magical, wasn't he? And he deserved to be honest. That strike he had that just nearly went past Hermansen's right hand post, I think it was. It deserved to go in itself. That, but I'm sure as the games go on, he's going to have plenty more goals to celebrate. That's for sure. I have to say, great show, lads. As always, thanks to my guest, my away fan guest, Thomas Gray. Thanks very much, Tom, for coming on. Very best of luck to the rest of the season for you. We hope you stay up. Big shout out again to your mum, Yvonne Gray, and also to my resident gooner at this stage, Eamonn Donnelly. Thanks very much for coming on, pal.
No problem.
As always, catch our show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel and on Spotify. Thanks for Derek for putting up. And until the next time, have a good one, lads. And thanks for listening and watching.